Madaba, Jumbo, Ni hao, Zinchou, Bonjour, Hola, Strasien, Namaskara, Konnichiwa, Annyeonghaseyo, Ciao, Guten Tag, Hello, Jesus, hello. I just greeted you. How many of those greetings did you know? How many of them could you respond to? What's the social norm in the way that you would respond? If you're on the street and someone asks directions in any foreign language, what would you say? Would you even be able to answer them? Now, I'll be honest. I had to look up almost all those words. But what if I didn't? What if I knew them completely normally while knowing what I had just said? What if you and I were both the product of a more intense and purposeful language immersion program and started learning at a young age? What if we had the ability to learn several languages, possibly at once? My mom came to this country from India when she was 6. She spoke no English, she knew no American social norms, and was put into a class in Raleigh, North Carolina, made entirely up of native English speakers. So on her first day, she had no idea what was going on in the classroom, no idea what the teacher was saying, no idea why the other children were reacting the way they did. But then flash forward 2 months. She's in the same school, with the same teacher, and the same students. But now she can speak perfect English, with no evidence in her voice that it's not her first language. So the reason she was able to learn English so well, and at the speed she did, is because her prefrontal cortex, like all other children her age, was less developed, allowing her to be more creative and intuitive and pick up new languages much faster. In short, she learned English so well because she was so young. The saying that the brain uses only 10% of itself is completely false. You use your entire brain, all 100% of it, but at different times. For example, the motor cortex, highlighted in green, that's responsible for you being able to stand, or clap, or run. And then there's the occipital nerve, located in the back of the brain, highlighted in yellow and orange. That's responsible for you being able to see, to go outside and see the sunshine. Well, I'm in darkness by now. But I'm going to focus on the prefrontal cortex, like I mentioned earlier. The prefrontal cortex is one of many language parts of the brain. It's located in the front of the brain. It is spread across both left and right hemisphere. But I'm going to focus on the left hemisphere. The left prefrontal cortex gives humans much of their intelligence and problem-solving ability. The left prefrontal cortex also has the ability to process both current environment and past memories. That's why it's so vital for language development. An example I have is, so a fully developed brain, an adult brain, would be overwhelmed by functional fixedness, causing them to see something as it is, or as its purpose. For example, a broom. An adult would see a broom, or as sweep. But a child could see that same broom, and it could be anything. It could be pole vault, or lance, or horse. So now that you know the part of the brain I'm going to talk about, imagine this. It's 20-something years in the future. It's a futuristic society, flying cars, Google Glass, etc., etc. There's something different here. Something different in the way people speak. So right now, English would be the common language behind a country's native language. But in this society, there is no common language. And the idea of native language doesn't even exist. People speak enough of each other's languages to have complex conversations and understand that person's culture. And traveling abroad is much easier in this society. And language barriers don't even exist. No more having to talk with your hands or having to sound out words to make yourself understood. No more fumbling with guidebooks or messing up with translation apps. As you can imagine, communication is much easier. But like I said earlier, adults learn things like foreign languages very slowly and inefficiently. So having this utopia of understanding is nearly impossible. For the moment. If we want to have this amazing society, the only way to begin is to start learning extremely young. Children from ages 1 to 2 have no problem learning 2 languages at once. But after the age of 6, language ability decreases slowly. So imagine this. Say a child is learning English and Spanish from its parents. And then that child is coming to school. That child is coming to school and it's learning German. And then when they get to high school, that child discovers it likes Asian cultures. So it studies Japanese. After high school, that child is speaking around 4 languages. Think about what this would look like. People from completely different parts of the countries speaking to each other in perfect fluency. People who are raised in completely different dialects speaking to each other like they've known that language their entire life. Because they have. But you might ask, how does this help me right now? Birmingham, Alabama, 2015, USA. Well, for one reason, it reduces miscommunication from foreign countries. An example I have is, in the 80s, when KFC was moving to China, their slogan was, and is, finger licking good, which in Chinese is Hang Jian Tiao Ho, which translates as, we'll eat your fingers off. I imagine it did not do very well in China. Another reason is understanding a country's language can help you understand their culture, which in turn allows for empathy and understanding. Also, being bilingual is really good for the brain. It causes you to multitask, which is great for cognitive health. If you look at a CAT scan of a native English speaker speaking Spanish, you can see there's much more activity in the lower left and right hemisphere, which is another language part of the brain. Finally, speaking more languages is more important than ever. With technology, international business, and travel, the world is getting smaller, and knowledge of a person's language is more important than it was in, say, the 1800s, when an average person rarely left the country. Schools all over America are trying this new technique of adopting language curriculum earlier, and they're seeing great results. Language ability development in society. So, why only teach them one language when they'll need so much more? With that on the mind, Shukira, Asante, Sheshe, Kemon, Hanyavad, Gracias, Spasiba. Oh, Kemon, Nasi, Gracias. I thought it wasn't working. Spasiba, Hanyavad, Arigato, Anayong Asayo, Grazie, Danke, Tak, Efisto,